So picture this for a second. You've had one of those days, everything's buzzing. The list of things to do is just staring at you. And you finally manage to roll out your yoga mat. You're just looking for a tiny bit of peace, right? A moment of calm. You get into that first pose, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then, whoops, there's a cold, wet nose suddenly bumping your ear. Or maybe a furry tail just casually sweeps across your face. Does that ring any bells? Because if you're trying to find that tranquility at home, especially with, say, a dog or cat around, your yoga time often turns into something wonderfully chaotic, hilarious even.
Oh, it absolutely does. And that kind of delightful chaos is exactly what we're diving into today. Our sources, they're from this really charming collection of stories. It's called Yoga with Co-Pup-Triators, Furry Friends, and Funny Fails. And our mission really is to unpack the insights hiding in these moments, these disruptions, because what the stories show is they aren't just funny little accidents. They're actually lessons, real lessons in being present, in patience, and finding that real joy when things aren't quite perfect.
I love that way of putting it. Delightful chaos. Okay, so let's get into it. One of the first things these stories point out right from the start is this core idea about our pets. For them, seeing you roll out that yoga mat, it isn't just you getting ready to exercise, not at all. One source describes it perfectly, saying for a dog, it's like an emergency summons, an immediate call to action. And for a cat, it might as well be a new mini playground that's just open for business. It's like a signal. Something's happening and they need to be involved. It's their cue.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We're thinking, okay, quiet time. Inner peace. And they're seeing, a new surface, maybe a new game, or just a really novel way to get some attention. It immediately sets the stage for that kind of, adorable mayhem we're talking about, and the lessons that come with it, right from the first stretch.
Right. And the stories, they really paint a picture. They get so vivid. I remember reading one account, someone was absolutely set on doing a full sun salutation flow, that whole sequence.
The classic warm-up.
Exactly. Standing, folding, plank, the whole thing. And they were just getting into downward dog, the inverted V, hips up high.
Sure.
And bam, suddenly felt this cold, wet nose start licking the very top of their head. Can you imagine? The source actually called it a downward doggy kiss, which is just brilliant.
Oh, that's priceless. Really. And what gets me about that story isn't just, how funny it is. It's the sheer surprise of it. You're there, you're focused, maybe straining a bit, trying to find that stillness. And then this very intimate, kind of slimy, but also affectionate thing happens.
Yeah.
It just yanks you right out of that meditative zone you were aiming for. And right there, in that jolt, maybe that's the first lesson. The sources suggest it's about needing that presence of mind, to adapt, not just to a wet nose, but to anything unexpected life throws at you. Letting go of the plan and just dealing with what is.
And the story kept going. The person obviously kind of startled up, right? And there's their little pom-pom just looking up with these big eyes, like he was saying, aha, this is your new game. Crawling around. Looks fun.
Okay.
And then the dog just starts bouncing around, trying to wiggle between the person's legs like they were some kind of, agility tunnel. Like it needed to conquer this tunnel to win something. It just perfectly captures that playful view pets have. They see our serious stuff as just play. Talk about a quick lesson in ditching the rigid plan and just, finding the fun in it, right?
Exactly. And if you think about the bigger picture there, it's like our pets sometimes mirror our own hidden desires for play, for connection. They're probably not thinking, I must disrupt this yoga. They're thinking, ooh, fun, let me join. On their terms, of course.
Right.
Turning our quiet time into this shared, spontaneous thing. It's like an invitation right there on the mat to just lighten up a bit. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do we push away those simple, innocent invitations to play in our own lives just because they don't fit our idea of how things should be?
That's a really good point. So you've talked about these pretty direct, playful interruptions, like the downward doggy kiss. But did the sources talk about maybe subtler ways pets mess with our zen, ways they disrupt without even, licking us?
Oh, absolutely. There's this one great account describing what the writer called disruption by presence. This involved a cat named Luna. And unlike a bouncy dog, Luna's method was much quieter, but just as effective, apparently. So picture trying to hold tree pose, balancing on one leg, foot on your thigh or calf, hands maybe at your heart, seeking that stillness.
Yeah, tough pose.
Right. And this cat, Luna, would just start weaving, rubbing on the person's ankles. It's not loud. It's just this persistent, silent question.
Yeah.
Hello? remember me? You're standing very still and not petting me.
Yeah.
We need to fix this.
Oh, the silent guilt trip. I know that move well from my own furry masters. And the result, the source says, wasn't losing balance because the pose was hard, but because the person got totally ticklish.
Right.
It really shows how each pet has its own special way of creating chaos, doesn't it? It's not always loud. Sometimes it's just that soft little brush that completely throws off your focus. Maybe there's a lesson there, too, about a different kind of patience, mental focus.
Yeah, it brings up a really interesting question, I think. How do we mentally adapt to those kinds of subtle but still powerful interruptions? It's not about brute force. It's a sensory thing that just pulls your attention right out of your head and onto your skin, basically.
Totally.
This kind of disruption, the sources seem to say, it forces you to develop a wider sense of awareness. It's not just about trying to ignore the cat. It's about noticing it, accepting, okay, the cat is here, and then trying to find your center again with the cat there. That's a pretty advanced mindfulness practice right there in your living room.
And speaking of focus and awareness, let's talk about the ultimate yoga challenge, maybe. Savasana. Corpse pose. That's the one where you're supposed to achieve true relaxation. Just lie still, let everything go. Total bliss, supposedly.
The goal, anyway.
Right. But one person talks about trying to get into that serene state only for their dog to decide, apparently, that they were asleep. Or maybe just conveniently stationary. And the dog then just starts gnawing on the corner of their brand new yoga mat.
Oh, the irony. It's so thick you could cut it right.
Yeah.
You're trying so hard to breathe out all worries, empty your mind, release tension. But inside, you're holding your breath, maybe squeezing your eyes shut, just silently begging, please don't chew through the expensive mat.
Exactly.
This is where those mental challenges really come into play, isn't it? It's such a stark moment. It forces you to face the fact that, well, real relaxation isn't always about perfect quiet. Sometimes it's about accepting the chaos around you.
Absolutely. It definitely takes empty your mind to a whole new level, a funnier level maybe. It's nearly impossible to just focus on your breath when your brain is going, is the dog going to lick my face now? Wait, is she chewing on that phone charger over there? Or, oh, the big one, is she going to, poop on the mat later?
Oh, no.
That kind of meditation, like our sources say, it really is truly next level because it's meditation happening right in the middle of messy real life, your actual living room. It stops being about escaping the distractions and starts being about learning to just exist with them.
It truly is. I mean, that's a practice that makes you face the immediate, sometimes absurd reality of where you are. It teaches you presence with the distractions, not trying to block them out or run away. It kind of challenges that whole idea of needing a perfect quiet space to meditate.
Right.
And the deep lesson there, according to these stories, seems to be that real peace isn't about no chaos. It's about finding your calm inside the chaos. And that's something you can take way beyond the yoga mat, obviously.
And this is where it gets really, really interesting for me. Because, okay, these interactions, they're chaotic, they're funny, sure. But what the sources are suggesting is that they offer something. Well, something more profound than just laughs. They offer real wisdom for our everyday lives.
That's absolutely the core of it. When you connect all these dots, these Co-Pup-Triators, as the title calls them, they're not just messing things up. They are actively teaching us really valuable life skills, like little Zen masters in fur coats. They teach flexibility, right?
Yeah.
And not just getting deeper into downward dog. We're talking mental flexibility, emotional flexibility, adapting when things don't go as planned. They teach patience. Oh, boy, do they teach patience, especially when you're holding a tough pose and suddenly there's a demand for belly rubs.
Definitely.
And maybe the biggest one.
Yeah.
They teach us how to find real joy in moments that are, well, imperfect. Because let's face it, that downward doggy kiss, not exactly perfect form, but it's memorable. It's often really heartwarming, actually. These aren't just abstract ideas. You're learning them in real time right there.
So, the yoga mat. In these moments, it stops being just about perfect poses or absolute quiet. Our sources frame it so beautifully as a school of acceptance and unconditional love. It becomes the space where you learn to let go of what you think your practice should look like and just embrace what it is, messy parts and all. It teaches that real connection with ourselves or our pets often happens in those unscripted bits.
Exactly. It really hammers home this powerful idea that your home yoga practice, just like life, really, it doesn't have to be perfect to be good, to be meaningful.
Yeah.
The aim isn't some flawless Instagram-ready moment.
Right.
It's more about finding joy, finding connection right then and there, whether that connection is with your own breath or with your furry friend who's decided to participate. The sources consistently nudge us.
Yeah.
Don't get mad when the dog interrupts. Try to see the humor. Remember the lesson. It's about being present with whatever shows up, Even if whatever shows up is a cat doing zoomies over you during savasana.
Yeah.
These experiences, yeah, they're disruptive, but ultimately they kind of enrich things. They teach us to flow with life's little unpredictable currents.
Yeah. So when we look back at all these funny fails, the wet noses, the cat-induced tickles, the mat shoeing, all of it, they're not just funny stories. They're actually these really consistent, profound lessons. Lessons in embracing the messy, imperfect parts of life and actually finding joy, finding connection right there inside the mess. It's about letting go of how you think yoga, or maybe even life, is supposed to be, and finding the beauty and the purpose in how it simply is.
And that really brings us to a final thought, something for you to maybe chew on, so to speak. If our furry companions can teach us these big lessons, patience, flexibility, acceptance, just through sharing our yoga space, well, how could we maybe apply that same willingness, that same readiness to embrace a little chaos and find joy in other parts of our lives? The places where perfection feels impossible, like those work projects that go sideways or personal goals that hit snags.
Hmm.
How can we learn to be more flexible with our expectations there? Find connection, maybe even find some delight in unexpected ways. What might happen if we stop fighting all the little Co-Pup-Triators in our lives, those interruptions, those charming disruptions, and just sort of let them be? Maybe even see them as teachers, in disguise. How much richer could our lives be? How much more authentic if we just allowed for a bit more delightful chaos